You should see this. What is it? Just give me 5 minutes!
Doherty, what the hell's going on there?
Ackerman breached the door. He locked us out.
Why don't you come on off this ledge?
Oh, I can't do that.
Don't be crazy, Cass. Come in here.
Okay! Let me help you.
Welcome to Man on the Ledge.
Okay, I'll get back on the list.
Had you played a cop before?
No, actually, this is the first time I played a cop, and this was the first time I played a married guy.
Really?
That was different.
Wow.
Yeah. You married?
I'm not. No.
Lucky man.
That's
That means you're happy in life.
right.
No, it's the first time I played a cop. Mike Ackerman, my character's name. And, you know, it's funny when playing, I know a lot of cops. I'm actually really tight with the NYPD. The NOPD, different subject. But NYPD looks out for me. And I tried to stay as far away from real cops as I could. Because the last thing I wanted to do was put a badge on my hip and start pulling on the front of my pants and start doing cop stuff. You know what I mean? Oh, this is how cops sit. Ooh, that's called bad acting. Well, the funny thing about this script, when I read, I fall asleep. Never fails. One page and I'm out. So it takes me a few days to read a script, right? But this one I read in 2 hours, and I realized what Asger had put together was not so much a guy on a ledge, but great characters surrounding an interesting plot. And the thing that I really like about this film is the fact that Asger cuts away from the ledge often enough to where you get the full scope of what's going on. So when I read it, I was really excited about it. So Asger and I got on the phone and we had a long conversation about character. Not about the ledge, not about the movie, not about the plot, not about how he was going to shoot it, but character. And when we had that conversation, I knew that he was going to make a film that was much more about individuals than about a guy on a ledge. So, and I think that's why the movie works. I think that's why the thrill of it works, the adrenaline of it works. I think that's why you can follow it from beginning to end the way you used to be able to follow suspense thrillers, as opposed to now you watch a suspense thriller and it's so suspenseful that by the time you get to the end, you just feel stupid because you have no idea what's going on. You know, too much suspense. You know, that guy got too much money to make that movie. You know, but Asger cut all the fat out of this movie. If it's not about a man on a ledge, it's not in the movie. And because of that, I think it works really well.
Did you all do a big backstory for your character?
We did. Sam and I got together and really came up with a thorough description of our relationship with the two characters. And, you know, in reality, in the real world, you have, every person affects your being. You know, so when you walk in a room, I'll act completely different with you than I will with this young whippersnapper right here. You know what I mean? Because it's just a different energy. You know, these two guys, completely different energy. So as an actor, you have to realize your character has a goal every time he walks into a room. And everything in between, he and that goal is an obstacle. So you react to those obstacles differently. And that's what gives a character in a movie gravity or substance. And that was something we talked about a lot and came up with in our stories, so that it made everyone different. I had never played a character like this, and I was looking for like an action suspense movie. And what I really liked about Mike Ackerman was he's the crux of the plot. You know, I'm the audience's eyes and ears into the movie. So when the audience figures me out, they figure the rest of the movie out. And I feel like a lot of the times that character gets lost in the scope of the film, because the filmmaker is trying too much to show a beautiful sunrise or trying so hard to show a great car crash, you know, that the characters fall to the wayside. Right. And I think what we were able to do, which I really like about this movie, is Asger gave every character a moment of humanity. And that's what makes the audience gravitate towards characters, because you relate to that humane moment, because the character reacts in that moment the way you feel you would. So what Asger did was made three-dimensional characters that the audience could relate to, so by the time you get to the end of the movie, you care about the characters, as opposed to caring about a beautiful sunrise or a car crash. We shot on the 22nd floor of the Roosevelt Hotel in Midtown Manhattan, which I thought was the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. I'm like, Asger, it's a movie. You know Superman does not really fly, right? I'm like, we can stand on a dresser and people will think it's a man on a ledge. Right. Why are we on the 22nd floor? They constructed this huge set that moved. It literally went out to the edge of the building and came 10 feet off the ledge. It rotated, I mean, everything. And then they constructed this 10-story wall. When you see Sam climbing up the wall, he's actually climbing up the side of a set that they constructed. So we shot a lot of it at height, and I think that's why you see the fear of shit in everybody's eyes most of the time in this movie. Because, you know, like in the trailer, like when we were up there, Asger was like, you know, I want you to go out on the ledge with him. And I said, okay, he is an avatar. I am a Hurt Locker. I will give you an arm and a leg. He can stand on the ledge the whole movie. So that's kind of how that worked out. It was. I mean, Asger's a really smart guy. He's all over the place, but in the middle of all over the place is a really smart guy. And you know, documentary filmmaking is about storytelling. And as filmmakers and actors, we are storytellers as much as everything else we'd like to be. At the end of the day, we're storytellers. So when I saw his film, I realized that he had amazing capacity for character development and storytelling. And I realized if you're going to do an action suspense thriller the way they used to, like if you look at the movies you really like that you saw in the 80s and 90s, and when they come on TBS now, you sit on the couch and click them on. Like there's a reason why Lethal Weapon is on like once a week. There's a reason why. Like, you know, these movies that are quirky and quirky, but every time Mel Gibson slams his shoulder into the locker, you're like, oh! You know, you have storytelling and you care about those characters. So when I saw Asger's documentary, I was like, wow, this guy can really craft a story in a way that's not the usual way. You know, when I look at a filmmaker's work, and at any point in time I feel like I can do what he's doing, I'm not impressed. You know, but when I look at your work and I ask the question of how did you do that? What in your brain, you know, initiated the thought of doing it that way? Then, you know, that conversation starts and I become interested in your work. And that's definitely what happened with Asger. The more we talked, the more interested I became in the project.
So you feel like this is more of a kind of 70s, 80s, kind of dirty, gritty kind of. It looks, like, I mean, yeah, that's what it is
about
to
the
me.
Movie, from the poster with all the pictures at the bottom. When was the last time you saw that? Like 96? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's very much Poseidon Adventure.
When was the last time you saw that? Probably was Cocoon. Right. You know what I mean? Because we all like Cocoon. Cocoon 2, I don't know. But Paul 1, that was a good movie. You know what I mean? Exactly.
No, there wasn't.
So the idea is everything about this movie harkens back to the day of old school going to the movies, getting a bucket of popcorn and enjoying a movie. And at the end of the movie, you walk out fulfilled and you're like, oh, I like this moment. Oh, I like this person. Oh, that was fun. Instead of 2 hours and 20 minutes later, you're like, why the hell? Somebody owe me $15 and 2 hours of my life back. You know what I mean? And that's the way I've been feeling a lot every time I go to a suspense. Like, I remember when I saw, you know, 12 Monkeys or 7. You know, like I left the movie like, holy shit. Wow, whoa, you know what I mean? I need that VHS, you know? Right now, you know?
You need to go to the store and rent it.
Right now, exactly. I can't wait till that tape comes out, you know? And I feel like that's kind of what this movie is. You know, if the other night I was sitting on the couch and the Negotiator came on. And I was like, wow. And halfway through, I couldn't remember the last time I saw a good, you know, Usual Suspects type suspense movie where you got to the end, you know, like when you got to the end of Memento and you're like, what? Who? How is, let me rewind to 1 minute, you know, and I feel like this is one of those movies, you know.
So you're a pretty charismatic guy, but you play a lot of really serious roles. Would we ever see you in the future doing maybe some comedy?
You plan on making a movie?
Maybe.
I'll be in
maybe
the movie.
you'll be in my movie.
Boom.
All right.
Right now.
Let's do this.
There it is. No, of course. I would love to be in a comedy. I would love to be in one of those Seth Rogen, crazy, off the wall, Ben Stiller, Adam Sandler, Eddie Murphy comedies. But you know, that comedy world is a small world, and those guys only work with each other, unless you're Will Smith. Then it's like, you know what I mean? If you're Will Smith and you call somebody and say, man, I want to be in one of your movies. Word? You know? But if Anthony Mackie called you, I want to be in one of your movies. Who? You know, so it's a world that I would love to be a part of. It's just very hard to get into. I do what I love. And I feel very blessed and fortunate to be able to say that I'm living my dream. And you know, it's just at a certain point in your career when you've done, you know, 20, 30 some odd movies, you look for a way to further advance your craft. And now I'm just at a point to where I've done an assortment of roles, and I don't think it's a question of anymore if I can act. Because a lot of times at the beginning of your career, you're just trying to show people you can act. Like, I can learn my lines, I won't get arrested, you know, stuff like, you know, I won't break anything, I won't steal anything off set. You're just trying to show people who you are, you know. That's when once you get past that point, it's about choosing roles that kind of diversify your portfolio. So now I'm just in a position of looking for roles that are different than roles I've played and show different aspects of my personality. You know, shits and giggles, man. I make movies. I don't haul wood. I don't scoop manure. I make movies. So it's like, you know, 2012. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter is the ultimate definition of the recontextualization of history. I think when you look at it, you know, Abraham Lincoln was a dynamic man at his time. And this movie shows a different aspect of the reality that he was living in. Someone found his journal that he kept when he was president, and it outlined many different stories about his life and his dealings with the vampires that roamed the country at that time. And it's one of the zany, that's the word that comes to mind. It's an off-the-wall idea, and the way Seth came up with it is off-the-wall and unusual, but it works. And the way it works as far as, you know, Timur and Tim Burton decided to make it an authentic biography. You know, they made timeline-wise, story-wise, history-wise, Abraham Lincoln to the T. That's when they put this subplot of vampires in there that actually supports the history that is real. So it's unlike anything you've ever seen.
I love Timur.
I saw a little bit of it, and I was like, I felt the way I felt when I saw The Matrix.
I love the director.
Yeah,
Timur, I love that guy.
He is,
so I mean,
I was
sorry.
Literally, I saw about 30 minutes of it, and I had that it's a really, really good movie. And interesting story. And the books are great, and everything about it kind of works. You know, so we'll see. We'll see.
I always wondered if you were involved in this.
Involved in what?
There is someone talking to IA right now. Whose name are they gonna come up with?
Look, I'm your friend. Take my hand.
Whose name?
What the hell are you doing?
Go.
Get away from
Go.
me!
Go, go, go.
Take him. I'm your friend! Then why you look so guilty?